What lives in art and is internally living is first of all the painter and then the painting. Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch painter in the 19th century who is one of the many great post Impressionists. His style of work influenced the current of Expressionism in modern art. Expressionism is a modern art style which the image is distorted in a way to make it expressive of the artist's emotions and ideas. Over his career as an artist, he painted and drew more than 1,500 pieces total. Gogh's art became astoundingly popular after his death, especially in the late 20th century. Vincent van Gogh was born on Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in Zutphen, Netherlands. At a young age, he was exposed to drawing. When he was 16 years old, he was no longer going to school and worked as an apprentice to an art dealer's Goupil and C in London. Due to disagreements with how they commodified art, he was dismissed in 1876. 6 years later, after working as a missionary in theology in Amsterdam and Belgium, he joined his brother in Paris. There he met other artists involved in Impressionism and Post Impressionism. They helped play a role in influencing Van Gogh's style. He was painting in colors and not used at the time and using broken brushstrokes. Shortly after, was suffering from mental illness. In 1889, he was entered in an asylum. During his stay, he completed 150 paintings. This is when he drew Starry Night. It is his view from the asylum window. The painting shows swirling clouds in a starry night with a bright crescent moon overlooking a village. All the light is coming from the sky and the village is in darkness. There's a cypress tree which is close to the point of view which makes it appear bigger. At the time of this painting, Van Gogh was suffering from mental illness. Van Gogh assigned an emotional language to night and nature, which took them far from their actual appearance. This explains why the brushstrokes are so thick, because it adds layers and helps express emotion. It makes the sky as bright as it can and has an effect on the stars. The brushstrokes are long and through, which makes it look like it's going with the wind. Van Gogh said, "Be clearly aware of the stars and infinity on the high. Then life seems almost enchanted after all. Although there is a cypress tree which is common in graveyards, there are bright stars shining through the night. The painting resembles hopes and dreams despite being inevitable, death being inevitable. It represents how gloomy the world looks as compared to the bright night sky." This is Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali was a Spanish surrealist artist in the 20th century. His most well known work is The Persistence Memory. He understood self publicity and was very famous. Salvador Dali was born on May 11, 1904, in Figueres, Catalina, Spain. He began learning how to draw at the age of 10. Then, as a talented teen, he was enrolled at the Madrid School of Fine Arts. Then, in 1992, he enrolled in the Special Painting, Sculpture, and Engraving School of San Fernando in Madrid. Dali was expelled in 1926 for insulting his professor. Shortly after, he traveled to Paris and visited Pablo Picasso. He was inspired by what the Cubists were doing. He began studying psychoanalytical concepts of Freud and explored these concepts in his works. Dali wrote, "My whole ambition in the pictorial domain is to materialize the images of my concrete irrationality with the most imperialist fury of precision." In the late 1920s, he was gravitating towards the Surrealists, and by 1929, he joined the Surrealist group. Surrealism was an artistic movement in the 20th century. It is when the artist depicted unnerving, illogical scenes and developed techniques to allow the unconscious mind to express itself. He was a key developer and influencer in the Surrealism space. His most well known work is The Persistent Memory, which was painted in 1931. The painting depicts melting clocks in a desert like biome. For Dali, these soft watches represent what he called the camber of time, suggesting that the concept of time had lost all meaning in the unconscious world. I agree with this because time is just a social construct. It is man-made and is supposed to give us structure of our day. The ants crawling over the pocket watch is symbolic for decay. What he would use this method in his paintings. It's also interesting to consider why he painted clocks in the desert. They are complete opposites. The desert is nature and the clock is man-made. However, without nature and natural materials, there is no innovation, there is no clock. I think there's a message in how he drew the clocks, especially the melting clocks hanging on the branch. It is because the clock is relying on nature. I also see the message of time and death, and over time, how someone can be forgotten slash gone. However, although it is decaying and melting, it is clock. Clocks are not disposable and won't disappear.